Next, let's talk about transshipments and denied entities. So a little bit of background here. The US restricts exports almost completely to Cuba, Iran, Syria, and North Korea. The US pays very close attention to additional countries like Russia, Belarus, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. The US also restricts imports to certain specific entities and people, and it maintains a list that you can check against to make sure you're not sending to one of them. So again, do your due diligence, just like with your paperwork, with your codes, with all your documentation. Your due diligence is what will put you on the right path and what will also save you in the event of any sort of an investigation. So your due diligence includes knowing your customer. We live in a modern world. Of course, that doesn't mean we've met face-to-face with our customers, but we've done our due diligence. That means doing our own online search. It may mean asking, in the case of Georgia, our state trade office will actually run a company through its available databases, which include creditworthiness and just establishing that the company exists and operates where and how they say they do. So these are great resources at the state level. You can certainly use those. As far as creditworthiness, I just want to point out one thing here. For just about any international shipment, it's advisable to get complete payment in advance of shipment. You can certainly insure the shipment if you're willing to do that. You can get credit insurance if you want to do that. At the early stages, I believe it's best to get full payment before shipment. If you are offering payment terms, I would at the very least make sure you're collecting a payment that's equal to covering the cost of your goods, just to protect yourself against any sort of risk. Next part of your due diligence is checking against that consolidated screening list. This is updated at 5 a.m. every morning. Yes, every morning, Eastern Standard Time. You want to check that list at every stage of your transaction. So when you first get the purchase order or when you're first hearing from the new customer, as you're processing payment, and then of course just before you're making the shipment to make absolutely sure that nothing has changed in that intervening time. Keep your due diligence as evidence. It may be helpful later. So the next thing is, if you have a question or if you're unsure, there's an exporter hotline. I mentioned before that the US government wants you to export, wants you to be successful. They want you to do it right. Call the hotline and find out if you've seen any red flags and you have a question. So don't ignore those red flags. The penalties are just too great. Let's revisit the dog toy. So the squeaker mechanism in the dog toy is unique. It just never stops squeaking. But bad actors have discovered that the squeaker mechanism can be removed and used as a decoy in war zones. What total surprise to Daisy. The precise sound in the squeaker makes it very disruptive when it's removed. And again, bad actors have found a way to use it in nefarious ways. So Daisy gets an order for a container of these dog toys from a new customer in Romania. She's so excited and she skips several steps of her due diligence. She rushes to ship the order. The customer receives the shipment. The customer immediately removes the squeakers and sends them to Belarus, where they're added to field kits for Russian soldiers in the invasion of Ukraine. Completely unintended and unexpected by Daisy. She's in shock. There are too many problems in this scenario to cover in this video, but Daisy is in big trouble. And this shipment was too good to be true, which Daisy probably suspected from the beginning. So be comprehensive in your due diligence. A final piece of that due diligence is to get an end user statement. So if you've done everything you can to satisfy yourself that you're shipping to somebody who's not in an embargoed country, who's not on a denied entity list, go ahead and ask your customer for an end user statement. They'll essentially be certifying to you and to the US government, should that become necessary, that they are not planning to divert the shipment to a country that they shouldn't, or to a person who may be on that list. So do your due diligence, be careful, and the final bow on that due diligence is that end user statement.